Okay, so this is welcome all you YouTube viewers as well. This is we're doing live, so this is live, okay? Live on Blog TV, live on livestream.com, and live at paulbegleyprophecy.com. But you guys are going to get a little bit of recordings, a few recordings tonight from the program. Folks, let's just focus for a minute on what God has done. 634 salvations this year. That is the number one statistic that I'm interested in. 64 people over at Paul Begley Prophecy, 91 over here at Livestream, and 51 at Blog TV, and the night will grow. As we get closer to midnight, remember something. It was 12 minutes to midnight. 12 minutes to midnight a year ago when blackbirds, 5,000 blackbirds started falling out of the sky in a little town called Begley, Arkansas. And all of a sudden, a wild year of biblical prophecies and world events started. How? Just before the midnight hour, as blackbirds dove from the sky head first into the ground. 5,000 of them. That next morning on New Year's Day, people were shocked. They were stunned. And in my book that I wrote about this called the Hosea Prophecy, and you can find this over here at paulbegleyprophecy.com if you want to know more about it. And Tiffany Hassel actually painted. That's the painting right there. She did a beautiful job. This is how it started, folks. When these blackbirds started falling out of the sky, it was just the beginning of an absolute miraculous year. Because it didn't take long. The very next day, New Year's Day, 100,000 drumfish washed up on the banks of the Arkansas River. And guess what? When that happened, what? I knew right then something biblically was going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. And I began to search the scriptures, and the Bible began to revelate to me there in the book of Hosea. And when it did, what I had to do, let's go there. Hosea chapter 4. And some of you already know it. You've read the book already, but you guys can quote it better than I can. But for those newcomers, here's what it said in the Bible. It said, "Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land. And because there's no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land." Notice there again, no truth, no mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. "By swearing and lying, killing and stealing, committing adultery, they break out, and blood touches blood. Therefore shall the land mourn, and every one that dwelleth therein shall languish," or waste away. What's going on with the beast of the field? There goes the cows. There goes the buffalo. There goes the big animals. The beast of the field, and the fowls of heaven. And yea, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. Now, God spoke to me and said, the Hosea prophecy, a 3,000-year-old prophecy, is about to fulfill itself. And so on the Sunday morning of July the 9th, I stood in the pulpit at my church, at Community Gospel Baptist Church, and prophesied to that crowd of 82 people that soon they would hear of cattle falling over dead in the fields. And folks, 5 days later, January 14th, 2011, 212 cows, a dairy farm, Stockton, Wisconsin, fell over dead that night. It wasn't long. There was over 7,000 buffalo that died in a short period of time, like a 3-day period of time in Vietnam. There's been tens of thousands of cattle die in South Korea, Cambodia, and Laos, and 10,000 cattle have died mysteriously in Russia. I'm not even going to talk about how many cattle have died in India and all these other places in smaller numbers. What I'm telling you is, you're not ever, and birds, are you serious? They fell out of the sky in Texas, and Louisiana, and Kentucky, and California. I'm talking hundreds, sometimes thousands, 3,000 in Texas, 2,000 in Louisiana, then Ireland and Sweden, New Zealand, Australia. Millions of fish washed up on the banks, 2 million fish at Chesapeake Bay, Maryland, 7 million fish. Redondo Beach, California, millions of fish along the beaches of Brazil. And then 38.5 million fish died in China. In where? Along the sea, in the lakes, in the ponds, in the rivers and the streams and even in the fisheries, and no cause of death. You don't think God isn't trying to get people's attention, but guess what? Evil is still lurking all over the world. And people are still away from God. Now, that's not the only things happened in 2011. Matter of fact, besides the Hosea, or all the animal deaths which happened, in the same month of January, the nation Tunisia had already fallen in late 2010. But then in late January, thousands of people began to protest. Where? In the streets of Cairo, Egypt, calling for the end of the 32-year monarchy reign, if you will, Muslim-controlled dictator Hosea Mubarak. And he resigned in 15 days, including during the riots. What looked like the fourth horseman of the apocalypse galloped through the streets during the riots. I did a video on it because the man who actually filmed it is stunned. It was live. He was the only camera live that night in Cairo, Egypt, because all of the reporters have been thrown out of the country. Remember, Anderson Cooper got punched in the face 10 times. They had to get out of there. But this guy, his name was Sean. This guy from Greece hung in there with his camera, and it was broadcasting his signal live to MSNBC on the Rachel Maddow show and on Channel 4 London. And as they were filming, it looked like a pale, ghostly horse and rider galloped through the rioting. It was incredible. I did a video on it, folks, this year, and it became my #1 video of all time with over 177,000 views. As people I read in the video, what could this have been? Could it have been a supernatural glimpse at the fourth horseman of the apocalypse, the pale horse rider, who sets on him his death and hell follows after? Well, I'm here to tell you right now, it started. Egypt fell, as you guys know. Libya fell. And now Yemen has fallen, and now Syria is on the verge, fulfilling Bible prophecy that was predicted by Daniel in the 11th chapter, 41 through 45. And matter of fact, let's just turn there real fast for the new people. But I got to get to Nostradamus, and I got to get to the Mayan prophecies and what they predicted for 2012, and also what I'm predicting for 2012. Here's what it says in Daniel chapter 11, in verse 41 through 45. He shall enter also into the glorious land. Who is he? The Antichrist spirit. Potentially. Matter of fact, Perry Stone, about mid-year, started preaching this same message. I'd already been doing it during the year, but then Perry jumped in, and he's even saying possibly not just the Antichrist spirit, but maybe the Antichrist himself has already begun to move into control. Are you sure? I'm very sure. I'm very sure. This is what he's preaching. This is what he's thinking, that it could happen, that it could actually happen. Hang on one second. He wants me to title this broadcast New Year's Eve Prophecy 2012. How's that? Oh, come on. You got to give me one more character. That's crazy. 12. How's that? All right. Save it. All right. That's okay. It says it's saving it. Okay. All right. Let's start that recorder again for another program. Now, as all that was happening in Egypt, people were beginning to think, what is going on? Why? And the news media has called it the Arab Spring. Am I right? They've called it the Arab Spring. It's not an Arab Spring. It's a Bible prophecy of the middle of the time that they're living in. What? It's incredible what's going on tonight. 81 people tonight over at Paul Begley Prophecy. 121 is here at livestream.com, and we're up to 66 over here at Blog TV. What a night! But Blog TV, yeah.
They want you to block some Steve.
Okay.